Welcome to Civet Quiz. Think you know your political theories? From Plato to Marx, this quiz will put your mind to the test. You have just 5 seconds to answer each question. Are you ready? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for more brain-twisting quizzes. Let's get started. Which philosopher is most associated with the concept of the social contract as the basis of legitimate state authority? Thomas Hobbes, Karl Marx, John Maynard Keynes. Thomas Hobbes. Which political ideology emphasizes minimal state interference and maximum individual liberty in economic matter? Social democracy, classical liberalism, authoritarianism. Classical liberalism. Who wrote The Republic, a foundational text in Western political philosophy? Plato, Descartes, Hobbes. Plato. What is anomy in the sociological political context? A condition of normlessness or social instability, a system of elite rule, a method of democratic decision-making. A condition of normlessness or social instability. Which thinker argued that the state of nature is nasty, brutish, and short? Rousseau, Hobbes, Locke. Hobbes. Which theory argues that economic class drives political power and state structure? Pluralism, Marxism, conservatism. Marxism. What is democratic legitimacy? Authority accepted by the governed, the ability to coerce citizens, the capacity to maintain military power. Authority accepted by the governed. Which philosopher claimed life, liberty, and property are natural rights? Jeremy Bentham, Machiavelli, John Locke. John Locke. What is checks and balances? A method of political persuasion, a form of direct democracy, a system where branches of government oversee each other. A system where branches of government oversee each other. Which ideology historically emphasizes tradition, hierarchy, and social order over radical change? Conservatism, utilitarianism, syndicalism. Conservatism. Who is associated with the veil of ignorance device in justice theory? John Rawls, Robert Nozick, Friedrich Hayek. John Rawls. What is political realism in international relations? A normative vision of ideal world order, a focus on moral obligations between states, a view that states act for power and security. A view that states act for power and security. Which thinker is a major proponent of libertarianism in the 20th century? John Rawls, Robert Nozick, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Robert Nozick. What is collective action problem? When individuals benefit from an action even if they do nothing. When collective groups always agree on goals. When individuals don't act because they expect others to. When individuals don't act because they expect others to. Which concept means majority rule but protecting minority rights? Tyranny of the majority, illiberal democracy, constitutional democracy. Constitutional democracy. Who wrote On Liberty Defending Individual Freedom? John Stuart Mill, Edmund Burke, Thomas Paine. John Stuart Mill. What is pluralism in political science? Rule by a single party. The idea that many groups compete to influence government. The belief in a single unified community will. The idea that many groups compete to influence government. Which idea emphasizes the greatest happiness for the greatest number? Deontology, utilitarianism, existentialism. Utilitarianism. Who argued for a strong separation of public and private spheres, especially for women? Hannah Arendt, John Stuart Mill, Carol Pateman. Carol Pateman. What is sovereignty? The division of powers among branches, supreme and ultimate legal authority within a territory, a type of direct democracy. Supreme and ultimate legal authority within a territory. Which theorist introduced the iron law of oligarchy? C. Wright Mills, Robert Michaels, Antonio Gramsci. Robert Michaels. What is political legitimacy? The ability to enforce laws by force, the size of the military, the justification for rule accepted by citizens. The justification for rule accepted by citizens. Which concept refers to the institutionalized disadvantage of groups based on race, gender, class, etc.? Social capital, structural inequality, cultural relativism. Structural inequality. Who is associated with the concept of hegemony in political theory? Niccolo Machiavelli, Antonio Gramsci, Edmund Burke. Antonio Gramsci. What is deliberative democracy? A system where decisions are made by elites alone. A model that emphasizes reasoned discussion among citizens. A system of plebiscites only. A model that emphasizes reasoned discussion among citizens. What is deliberative democracy? A system where decisions are made by elites alone. A model that emphasizes reasoned discussion among citizens. A system of plebiscites only. A model that emphasizes reasoned discussion among citizens. Who authored Leviathan? Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Montesquieu. Thomas Hobbes. What is anarchism? Belief in rule by a benevolent monarch. Theory supporting strong centralized government. View that all government is unnecessary and harmful. View that all government is unnecessary and harmful. Which concept is central to communitarian critiques of liberalism? Universalism, unlimited free markets, atomistic individualism. Atomistic individualism. Who argued that democracy is the rule of the demos, but warned of demagoguery? Plato, Aristotle, Machiavelli. Aristotle. What is civil society? The government bureaucracy responsible for society, the community of civilian solicitors, arena of voluntary associations outside the state. The community of civilian solicitors. Which theory emphasizes that norms, identities, and ideas shape state behavior? Realism, constructivism, liberalism. Constructivism. Who wrote the theory of justice? Robert Nozick, John Rawls, Jürgen Habermas. John Rawls. What is political culture? Patterns of broad normative and cognitive orientations in a society. The organizational structure of government. The size of electoral turnout. Patterns of broad normative and cognitive orientations in a society. Which thinker championed negative liberty, freedom from interference? Isaiah Berlin, Karl Marx, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Isaiah Berlin. What is path dependence in politics? That early choices constrain later options. The randomness of political developments. The inevitability of revolution. That early choices constrain later options. Who argued that the best kind of socialism would emerge through democratic processes? Vladimir Lenin, Rosa Luxemburg, Edward Bernstein. Edward Bernstein. What is cosmopolitanism? The view that political obligations only extend locally? The belief in global moral and political obligations? The doctrine of absolute sovereignty? The belief in global moral and political obligations. Which idea argues that justice requires treating people differently to correct for unequal starting points? Formal equality, strict equality, equity, or substantive equality? Equity, or substantive equality. Who first developed the concept of political will, volonté générale, in modern theory? Niccolò Machiavelli, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Montesquieu? Jean-Jacques Rousseau. What is bureaucracy, in the Weberian sense? Rule by judges. A formalized, hierarchical administrative system based on rules, a populist form of government. A formalized, hierarchical administrative system based on rules. Which political theory views the state primarily as an instrument of class oppression? Neoliberalism, Marxism, federalism. Marxism. Who is associated with the enduring structure of power and elite dominance? John Rawls, Jürgen Habermas, C. Wright Mills. C. Wright Mills. What is illiberal democracy? A system with strong protections for freedom and rule of law. A system where elections occur but civil liberties are restricted. A form of military dictatorship. A system where elections occur but civil liberties are restricted. Which thinker emphasized discursive ethics and public reason? Jürgen Habermas, Walter Benjamin, Friedrich Nietzsche. Jürgen Habermas. What does the principal-agent problem refer to in political institution? The difficulty of scheduling parliamentary sessions. The challenge when elected representatives, agents, diverge from voters' principals' interests. The issue of overlapping jurisdictions. The challenge when elected representatives, agents, diverge from voters' principals' interests. Who coined the phrase, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely"? Lord Acton, Thomas Hobbes, Jean Bodin. Lord Acton. What is substantive democracy? Focus solely on holding regular elections. Emphasis on actual distribution of power, inclusion, rights, and quality. Rule by majority unconditionally. Emphasis on actual distribution of power, inclusion, rights, and quality. Which theory critiques liberalism from the left, focusing on deep structures of power? Neoconservatism, critical theory, utilitarianism. Critical theory. Who argued that the best political community blends monarchy, aristocracy, and democracy? Aristotle, Karl Marx, John Locke. Aristotle. Drop your score in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more fun quizzes on politics and philosophy.